healing,
self-care,
mental health,
laugh, joy,
women.
real black girl shit.
To be whole is to be healed.
Black girl joy.
Healing journey. Black woman be whole.
Welcome back to the Black Woman Be Whole podcast. We're your hosts, Anisha, Kim, and Markia. And we are Black women. Yes, come on, y'all. Where is the energy today?
Wait a minute.
We are Black women working on being whole. We are on episode 5, y'all. This is season 3, and we have a special guest joining us today. I'm excited about. Actually, we're all excited about. But before we get into that, I got to check in with my girls. So, ladies, what are y'all working on this week? Markia, you up to bat, girl?
Surviving. That's it. Sorry, friends at home. It's been a rough day, but surviving is my answer.
But somebody is resonating with that. Let's be very clear. So I appreciate you keeping it real. We're not about to give y'all no extra song and dance. That's what it is this week. Then that's what it is.
Bam. Boom.
Come on, Kim. Where you at?
I am actually working on getting all my appointments in for the health things. So just doing the baseline assessment for all the stuff. Went and got my blood taken, check out the vitamin D levels, all of it, B levels, everything, because I need to get myself together and get organized. So what about this, Anisha?
So we're talking about doctors. I went to the knee doctor. Okay. So my girlfriend was like, I was telling her about my knees. She's like, what doctor? I was like, the knee doctor. She was like, you have a specific doctor that is just for your knees. Yes, it's like that, y'all. Your girl do not have mega knees. I barely have Tootsie Roll knees at this point. Okay.
Why you got the knees of a 70-year-old? What's happening?
I was like, I told the doctor today, I said, I look too youthful. I feel too youthful to be able to get up the steps with my arthritis. So the arthritic knees is getting worked on because we're going to Vegas in a couple of weeks. And I got to try and drop it like it's hot. Right now, I'm dropping it like it's lukewarm. So I'm working on my knees, y'all. That's what I'm doing.
Child, work them on them. Hurry up. Don't let us leave without getting them shots. That's all
I got the shots already. I got them today.
Keep getting them. Let it work its way through.
Markia is like, is this really what we discussed?
I love what you gotta do.
Yes.
So interesting fact. April is Stress Awareness Month. Let's be clear. April is a bunch of different things, but it's also Stress Awareness Month. And so I wanted to ask this question because I think it's really interesting. What do you do to alleviate your stress? And also, where does your stress come from? I think that's really important. Kim.
Let's see. Sometimes my stress comes from people, but mostly myself because I got bad boundaries because people can't stress you out unless you let them. They can't stress you out if you say no because no is no. So
it is.
I need to work on that. So my stress comes from me not really, upholding my values and boundaries and communicating things. That does not mean that people don't stress me out and things don't stress me out because deadlines and all the other stuff on my jobs. What do I do to alleviate stress? I like to go out, music, dancing. That's really one of my big things. And I think reading, having like quiet time to sort of just like dive into a book, very important to me. But I also have like that other side where I love to go listen to different kinds of music and go have a good time, do some dancing. Like we did on John B. That's all I'm gonna say. Sorry,
come on. Oh wait, y'all are going to see Beyonce together, so y'all gonna have some stories, baby,
yes.
in New Orleans, baby.
We're going to see Anita Baker. We got a new one.
Oh wait, y'all going to see Anita Baker?
Anita Baker.
Come through. Who she performing with?
I don't
care.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna front. She gave me like good 4 songs, so that's why I asked who else. I just don't know.
Wow,
more
it's giving.
She got her whole discography back. What are you talking about?
Okay, for me, I think it's about 5 tops.
But I know you know J-Lo songs, but I know you know those.
You still hating about J-Lo. I don't even know if that was season 1, and
It was. You know what? Because
That's
not Anita
okay.
Baker not having enough songs, but J-Lo is an icon. Wait a minute. Wow, shit's
Listen,
crazy.
that don't mean I'm
Woo,
going to see her in concert. Okay, she can
woo.
be an icon all she want. That don't mean I'm going to see her in concerts. And again, Miss Anita Baker,
Oh,
she's
Lord.
giving. I'm going to sleep, but I'm done. I don't want to fight, so I'm not
It's
saying that else.
given hater. It's given don't know good quality. But it's okay. No, I'm excited to see my auntie Anita, and it'll be good.
Is that auntie or grandma? I'm sorry.
I mean, I have an aunt that is 70 years old, so it can be auntie for me.
Ooh.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You
I'm
about to
stop
hit you
hating.
with the body and soul.
right. You know,
Oh.
same old love from beginning to end, 365
65
days
days
of
in a
the
year with the same
Mhm.
old love and
Oh, but
faith.
now you know the words.
Mhm.
Okay, crazy.
I told you I had like 5
She
songs.
know. She
Like,
only know
stop
5.
playing. I
She
said
only know
5.
5. We only know 5. That's okay. Go
Don't
ahead.
hold
Go
it
ahead. Go
against our
ahead.
All right.
listeners.
Where
It's
your stress
okay.
come from, Markia? How do you alleviate it?
The current season of my life is just kind of stressful because, entrepreneurship is wild. So every day is an
Amen.
adventure. And this is all I do full time. So, every day is figuring it out. To alleviate stress, I used to say working out, but like now I just kind of do it. So I don't know if it's necessarily alleviating stress or it's just like muscle memory. But marijuana is lovely. Sleep is lovely.
Love it.
It
Um,
is legal in your state. Just want to
absolutely.
also throw that out there,
I
y'all.
mean, and if it wasn't, what y'all gotta do? Tell the police to come get me? Fight me. It's fine. Alcohol on occasion. I'd rather weed though. Just because there's no hangover with weed. So
That
maybe not
part.
the healthiest coping mechanisms, but that's what it is for now. So
I think my stress comes from my multiple roles that I play. They are really colliding right now. My mom recently lost my stepdad, who she had been with for 32 years. So, like, being a daughter right now is super important, and figuring out how do I step up and really support her has been really hard because my other role as an entrepreneur, as a therapist, as a daughter again to my father that I take, like, it's starting to be super stressful. And so that's where most of my stress comes from, is all the many roles that I play in all the different people's lives. And so how do I alleviate that stress? Actually, I have been working out more. So y'all, I've talked to y'all about my walks, but now I'm back in the gym. And I just want to put this out there because I thought it was funny. My boy Gary at the gym at the New York Sports Club, I went in the other day. He scanned my card and he was like, damn. I said, what's that about, Gary? He was like, you know the last time you been here? I said, how long? He said 436 days ago. I said, damn. I was like, but wait, Gary, I work out at my house. I had a trainer in the park. I just need to put that out there. Like, I haven't not worked out in 436 days, Gary. I just ain't been here. So yes, that's a way. But another way that I would like to alleviate stress is I would like to have more sex. So I just want to also put that out there because sex is a stress reliever. And that is also a way for me to introduce our guest for the day. We're going to be talking about sex today, y'all. Some of us are having it. Some of us are not having enough. Some of us are thinking about it. Some of us are watching it. We're doing a lot. Some of us are not talking about it. So yes, we're going to be talking about sex today. And so I would like to alleviate stress by having more sex. That's what I would
I gotta,
like.
you know what? Y'all gotta go on vacation more. Stop working so hard. That's the problem.
So let's get ready for our guests, y'all. All right, now we cannot. I'm introducing guests and stuff. We can't leave out this part because y'all know I came up with this, and everybody else wanted to get rid of it. Let's be clear. I'm gonna start with you today, Markia, since you remembered. You gave me the look. Y'all didn't hear that, but she gave me the look. So what is the craziest thing that you saw or read about this week, ma'am?
I'm going with the joy thing again. And also those at home, I'm just making sure I keep the continuity going. We don't want to introduce you to something and then change it and not, be authentic. So, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan, but that's why I've pivoted to something that brings me joy because that is something I can commit to.
Yeah.
The joy factor for me, last week I completed like 2 big conferences that I planned. So that was really exciting. It was a big thing for my little company that is on its way to the top eventually. But it was really exciting planning, conferences surrounding mental health for folks of color, one for, HBCU students, and the other focusing on mental health and religion and that intersection. So it was really cool, very exciting. Check out the Steve Fund. I'm sure Rajay, you'll never hear this, but if you do, you'll text me if you heard this one.
Hey, Raja.
But that is the thing that brought me joy this week. Well, last week.
Girl, I want to go next because it's so interesting. Some of these people who went to Freaknik 94 is suing motherfucking Hulu so that damn movie don't come out. They got them shook in the streets. Freaknik is got people shook. I know the aunties was sweating, and the judges and the lawyers and the people, with the suits on now, because
I was like, I am no longer that person. Okay.
Right.
I don't live there anymore. That is not my
Right.
address anymore.
Yeah.
When they said Freaknik graduated and is now Essence Fest, it got degrees and everything, and now it's called Essence Fest. I said, y'all wrong for that.
Girl, I don't know it might shake up the culture. People asking their auntie and their grandma already if they gotta be prepared to see them in Freaknik. Like, this is wild. I'm gonna watch it because I cannot wait, and I'll see what happens. But they out here suing them to stop them
I'm
from doing
mad.
it.
I'm
They said,
mad.
nope.
So I think not the craziest, but it was kind of funny to me. So there is this soccer player. His name is Hakimi. That's his last name. His wife filed for divorce, and she demanded half of all his property and everything he owns because he's a straight millionaire. Now, what she doesn't know is he don't own nothing because he put everything in his mama name. So now, of course, they don't live in United States because here a person would still be able to get their money, right? But no, where he's from, they're not having it. His mama owned everything, so she now gets nothing. And she is upset. And they talking about the City Boys is up 1,000 points right now. You thought you was gonna get half of my money? I don't own nothing because everything in my mama's name. So I thought that was so interesting because they probably ain't been married for that long. And she was like, I want half. He out there balling every week and she want half of everything. And he's like, oh, I don't own shit. It's my mother's name. You can't get nothing from me. And then I heard that she had a little bit of money, so he might try and take some of hers. I was like, I can't. You gotta love it, y'all.
Come on now.
Y'all gotta love it.
Checkmate.
This is wild.
And also, Love is Blind reunion. Holla at me in the comments, y'all. On the Instagram page, because so many thoughts.
So many thoughts.
Well, I heard they trying to come for Nick Lachey and his wife's job.
And
like,
should.
Yeah,
and should.
Right. So we'll see what happens. Who's the new host? But they was like, they need to be out of here. Well, they want to give it to that couple who did.
I don't want
white
them
guy
either.
with the black. Okay.
I love Loringham, but they can also move around.
Okay.
Get a regular journalist that knows how to ask questions. Maybe a therapist, because everyone on there needs
They need
therapist.
therapy. You like, y'all need some help.
And Jesus, maybe. So.
That part.
Okay, so now can I get ready for the guest? Right?
Yes, you
all the
can. We
things.
did the thing.
All right, y'all. So I would like to introduce my friend, my fellow colleague in these therapy streets, Kimberly Thomas. Yes, licensed professional counselor. Let's go. And sex therapist. Let's do this, y'all. You ready, Marquia, for this conversation? Yes. Come on, Kim. You ready?
Hey, ooh, wee. Let's get into it. I love it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
So I am so excited today because, of course, we have a guest. And this guest is very special to the podcast because Kim and I were actually at a conference called Sex Down South. Now, it was almost 2 years ago, so we definitely have to be back at this year's Sex Down South. It's a sex positive conference in Atlanta that centers people of color and the experiences of people of color. So it was an amazing time. Kim, you want to tell us a little bit about your time at Sex Down South before we introduce my fellow colleague in these therapy streets?
Yeah, it's just a wonderful educational experience where you get to explore some things and have conversation with people who are willing to do that. So I consider it a safe space to talk about things I've never been able to talk about. and kind of like explore things I've never been able to. So it was nice. We'll be back.
And let me just say this, what I like about Black girls is that we see each other and we just started talking to Kim. Okay, so her name is Kim Thomas. And then, guys, we have the other Kim. So give us a little bit of grace around this podcast
For
today.
real.
Yes.
We'll try our best.
But yes, I will introduce her and we'll start to talk with her. But I wanted to just say how amazing it was to meet her, and she can speak to that as well. As soon as we met, we all went to lunch together. We actually spent the whole damn weekend together. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, we went to a bar. The two of us went to the hotel bar and we went to go get a drink. And I asked her, did she want to be my friend? I was like, yes, no, or maybe. And she laughed at me like we were in the third grade.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to introduce Kim Thomas, and we're going to call her Kimberly for today so we can differentiate between Kim, our podcast host, and Kimberly, our podcast guest. Okay, so Kimberly is a licensed professional counselor specializing in sex therapy, practicing in the state of Virginia. She has a postgraduate certificate from the Institute of Sexuality Education and Enlightenment and is pursuing her AASECT certification. Kimberly is the owner of Transformation Space Therapeutic Services, where she focuses on helping individuals and those who are partnered navigate the impact of anxiety, depression, and sexual dysfunctions. Her goal is to help her clients achieve a full pleasure-centered sex life. Yes. Kimberly releases a monthly newsletter with tips and tools to help people navigate sex and to improve their relationships overall. And so we'll let you know where the newsletter can be found before the end of our podcast today. But Kimberly Thomas, thank you for being here.
Yes, I'm so
Welcome.
excited to see these faces.
Hello,
I haven't seen them in
hello.
so long.
Been a
I miss
while.
you guys. Oh, it's been a while.
We
Yes.
had a good time. We were being free.
We were. I went to Sex Down South by myself and I left with so many friends. Clearly, we're still staying connected 2 years later almost, and we are still keeping in touch. So
I love
We're
that
about
for
to
us.
add Marquia in the fold. We're going to try to get Marquia to Sex Down South
yes.
in September.
Come
But
on
we will see.
ATL. Come on ATL, girl. Let's do it.
If y'all can see Marquia's face right now, but we'll see if we can get her there. So yes, thank you. I think that this is such an important topic to talk about. I think this is really important for our audience, for us to really talk about sex and the importance of, I think, having healthy conversations around sex. Because a lot of us have sex, but we don't really talk about it, y'all. And so how do we have it and talk about it and be safe and all the things? I think we do really have to start with this because we are self-care advocates on this show, right? So we always want to know about people and kind of, how they do self-care. So what does self-care look like for you as a business owner and therapist? Why don't we start there?
So self-care for me is absolutely moving my body. Like I'm in this seat for 5 to 6 to 7 hours a day, at least 3 to 4 days a week. So I have to be intentional about moving my body, stepping away from the screen. Even if it's just a 15-minute walk on my break, like I try to be so intentional about that, just to take in outside, feel some breeze, like just feel the sun on my skin. So that's important to me. And then also saying no, setting those boundaries.
Okay.
Yes.
Like that has become self-care for me. Like I know that I am a giver in a way, and I want to hop in and help people. And if somebody asks like, oh, can you do da 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 da? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Meanwhile, I'm like, but I have all the things for me that I'm not doing. So prioritizing my needs and saying no has been the theme for this year. So I'm leaning into it.
Yes, girl, do it.
We love to hear it because as a fellow therapist, I am sitting in this chair. My knees is hurting. My back is hurting. I'm like, I just need to get up. And I think also for other people who work from home, I think that resonates with them. So thank you for that. Also around self-care, like what were the messages you received about self-care in your home? And did you receive any messages around self-care?
when you were saying it, I was like, dang, no, I didn't. I was raised by a single mom, and it was like work, 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 work. If there wasn't, if it wasn't her working 2 jobs, it was her doing housework, yard work. She was always working. So for me, I didn't see someone saying, you know what, it's okay to rest. There is power. There is strength in resting, and that's okay. So that was something that I had to learn on my own. So now I speak to that single mom, and I'm like, Mom, like, you need to rest. Come on, let's go have a spa day, right? Just sit down. It's okay to do nothing. Like, don't beat yourself up about that.
And it's not lazy if you're doing that, because some of us have been told that we're lazy if we're laying around.
Thank you for that. That was really important for a lot of us who actually didn't hear it, right? In our homes. Like, you got to figure out how to do it for yourself.
I have a question for you, Kimberly. What made you choose sex therapy, right? Of all the areas and the focuses and the concentrations, why sex?
I will say my clients are my biggest teachers. So just talking with clients over the years and realizing that a lot of people struggled around sex, which made me reflect on my experience with sex. What was I taught? Where did I get my knowledge from? So that kind of led me to doing research and leaning into it. Like, my friends encouraged me to do it. I always been comfortable talking about sex. So I was like, well, why not? Right? Like, I'm in this seat. Why not use this space to share with people, to empower people to embrace their sexuality? And a lot of people don't experience it.
I love that, because I thought about being a sex therapist. I always told Kim M over there, like, I'm gonna do it. But what people don't understand is once we get the degrees, like all the other stuff that we have to do, all the the other education that we have to get, the supervision that we have to get, it can be very time consuming. And so that's probably one of the reasons that I haven't. But within my practice, I do see people who are in non-traditional relationships. So I see like polyamorous, I see swingers, things like that, because I really wanted there to be a safe space for Black people and brown people to be able to talk about that, because they don't always have that. And I also know therapists who refuse to talk about stuff like sex. And I'm like, how are you going to be a therapist and not talk about everything?
Sexual health is health. Yeah.
That's right. Come on.
So just to be sure that our audience has a basic understanding, because we were talking about people thinking all sorts of different things about what sex therapy is. We want to confirm you're not cuddling with nobody, right? First and foremost.
No, I don't cuddle with anybody. I don't actively watch clients have sex. I don't watch their recordings. No, that is not a part of the job. No,
I love it. Well, what is the job? What does the job entail? Just could you give the audience and even us a little bust down on what it entails?
Not bust down.
Bust down, girl.
Yes, come on. So the crazy thing is, sex therapy is no different in a way from like traditional talk therapy or psychotherapy. We're just focusing in on your sex life. We're talking about the things that are impacting you from leaning into that fully. For some people, it's depression and anxiety. Performance anxiety is a big thing, and it's happening in people who are in their 20s now. Exactly. Before, statistically, it was older people, but now more and more people are showing up in their mid-20s saying that they're having issues with engaging with their partner. They're having issues with erections, maintaining erections, premature ejaculation. So some of those are the things that I talk about with clients. With more of the clients, vulva owners, we're going to talk about maybe some dryness. We're going to get into pain during sex, right? We don't realize how much attention we hold in our bodies, and that is one of our pelvic areas is one of those places.
I hope you telling them they need to stop, eating hot Cheetos and stuff. To get their sperm count up.
Yes.
That is the thing. That is the thing.
Girl.
I love that you use vulva owners. I'm like, yes, with the vulva owners. I've never used that phrase in my life. I might start using it today.
Yeah, I don't want to exclude anybody, right? I want to be mindful of the community. So
being inclusive is important.
Yes.
When I listen to some of the things that are being discussed in your sessions, I thought about the fact that, and you were talking about individuals, but also I'm gathering you see couples as well. Would that be right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for me, whenever I see couples, it's kind of communication is the number one reason why they generally come to therapy. When you are seeing these clients, there's a lot of talk about, I would gather, how do we have like these hard conversations or kind of healthy conversations around sex with our partners? Because I'm hearing about issues around erections, issues with performance. These are hard conversations to have with someone. I mean, everybody in the room is noticing that they're happening, but again, that doesn't mean that we're talking about them. So I guess like, so are there any kind of tips that you can share around like how to kind of, you know, communicate and talk about these hard things that around sex that we really need to talk about?
So I will say the biggest issue is, like you mentioned, people aren't acknowledging the elephant in the room, right? It's like they're just going along with life, or it's been happening for 6 months and we just gonna put it off or push it to the side or put our focus on other things. And before you know it, when you want to engage in sex, you're having all these hurdles. So let's sit down and call a spade a spade. This is what's happening in our relationship. So let's address it together. I think that oftentimes people want to point the finger. That is you all's issue. It's not just, you know, you over there got to fix that. Call me when you got it together. No, that's not how this works.
It's
you
a
have
group project.
It is a group project. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're having some issues, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we can work together, right? Being open for change. I think that's the biggest thing. Just because you've been doing something for 15 years does not mean it's going to work now. So listening to yourself, listening to your partner, that part is so important.
May not have been working in 15 years either, but you know.
Say that.
Maybe we hit the breaking point now. And now it's like, this cannot be that anymore. So I'm not sure of the demographic of your patients, but assuming Black and Virginia, if you had to guess with the Black women that you serve, what are some challenges and struggles that you're noticing with those clients that come in? Like, are there any commonalities or things that our listeners might be able to be like, oh, girl, that's me?
I think the biggest challenge is people being hesitant to embrace who they are, to embrace their sexuality. So they're kind of at a crossroads of, I want better, but I'm nervous about what that better is going to look like for me. It's tough because a lot of them have that religious component. And again, sexual education did not start at home. It didn't start at home. So people are literally out here trying to figure it out on their own. So it's like unknown, uncharted territory. So they're just wanting a safe space to kind of process and feel validated. So that's one of the biggest things. And then it's talking to their partners about, I want to try this. I'm open to this. I'm having, you know, some shame around vaginal lubrication because you have said things joking, but I've taken that to heart. And now I don't want to have sex with you. Right. So those are some of the biggest things that I'm seeing with folks.
When I think about that, right, like that probably comes from going back to what you said about growing up in the home and religious upbringing. A lot of girls have just been shamed about their bodies. And how do you then say to someone,
we've been calling fast for how long?
Right. Come back and be an adult now and now go out there and get your freak on or whatever. And you're like, but you've been telling me to cover myself and do all of this. And now you want me to flip a switch when you've made me, you know, be ashamed of my breasts growing on my butt or put some clothes on. So I think it's really interesting how people have processed those things and then they show up as a sexual being, you know, whether they out there, you know, getting it in as a single person or being in a relationship. And, you know, so many people are, you know, not into touch or not touching themselves or, you know, or they think masturbation is wrong because they've been told that. So how do we get those messages out of our heads so that we can live into like happy sexual lives?
You know, I think a big part of sex and sexuality is relearning, right? Is looking at all the things that you're taught and saying, does that apply to me now? Do I still want to carry this narrative about myself? So it's really about releasing and receiving something new. And that's a journey in itself, right? Like we can easily say, oh, you know, stop doing that, stop thinking like that. No, you got to give yourself grace. It's not, you know, no journey is linear. So there will be you know, days when it's better than others, and that's okay. It's just really about allowing people the space and the opportunity to feel and experience and lean in. Like that's the biggest part, is to lean into who you're wanting to become. And I always ask my clients, okay, describe to me the person that you're wanting to be. Okay. So tell me about that. Okay, well, let's back up. What are some small steps to help you get to that place?
Okay.
It doesn't have to be overnight.
Engineer.
It's not going to be overnight, and that's okay.
I love that.
I think it's interesting because growing up, I remember sex and love had to go together. Like if they didn't go together, then you should not be having sex. And so I feel like for so long, it was like, if I don't love you, yeah, I can't sleep with you. That's just that. And then it took me so long to unlearn that, because I don't think that sex was ever positioned as something that just should be pleasurable and that could be enough. Right. And that sex is also recreational. Like sex is not only for procreation, but again, at growing up Christian, that's what it was about. It was about procreation. And so how did, like, it took so long for me to let go of that part, right? Like it doesn't have to be for procreation, doesn't have to be for love. Can it be about recreation, and can it be about my personal pleasure? And I think that I see that too in clients trying to like just unwed themselves of that idea and have a new idea about what sex can be, and not feel kind of, how do I say it, a little bit yucky about it as a young woman, right? Growing up, like, why am I called? There's so many derogatory names for women who have sex with multiple partners, or even who just enjoy sex. So how do I fight against that, right? As I'm growing up, figuring out who I want to be as a sexual being, if all you hear is slut and hoe, and the first thing a man says when he wants to disrespect you is like, you suck my dick. Like, damn. So then as a woman, why would I ever want to do that if that's all I'm hearing?
Here's another thing. It's like, why are you messing up the program for yourself, dummy?
You might not. You seem to enjoy it when it was happening. Because I don't want to be with you. Okay.
Right.
And but that's a weapon, right? Used against us.
Right. Exactly. And I think that in those moments, you really have to be firm in who you are and trust yourself. And go back to, okay, what's important to me? I'm leaning into pleasure in this moment. So that's what I'm going to continue to do, whether you over here choose to or not. But that's what makes me happy.
You got to be strong, because when somebody try to ruin your reputation, or they post about some stuff you did online, that's why I don't do pictures and I don't do videos. Ain't none.
You better remember what happened. You better remember what happened.
Listen, I found this thing on TikTok where it says somebody show you a picture where you do your knee, and then you just put some clothes on it and look like boobies. Listen, you better start sending the catfish photos. Stop playing with me. I'm not doing it. It won't be me that you said was out there, because people get vindictive and stuff. So it's so weird.
When with technology, even if you think you're good, all they need is like one piece of a tattoo. All they need is one side of one picture of your arm, and they're like, up, that's her. You know how people get like
them detectives, them FBI people.
Yes. Again, messing up the pleasure, right? We're just here to have a good time. And people just kill good things.
Yeah, I think it's funny because Anisha, I had a very different upbringing. Like I read a lot, so I was very much so more not in tune, but I read anything and everything I could, and sometimes that was, I read about the Kama Sutra and all these other things. So I'm not gonna say I was a sexualized being, but I understood enough about sex just through like reading that, when it came time, I was like, oh, okay. This is a world, like I found Sex Down South Conference because I was just curious. I think a lot of the times I end up in spaces and doing things because I want to have a good story, or I'm curious, like, well,
you had a good story too from that first year.
Girl,
there's these weird stereotypes about Black women though, but a lot of them are that we are hypersexual, which is not true. But then also the women that I've seen just in my life are definitely not hypersexual. I hear it in my practice. I felt it too. A lot of shame just around sex in general. And so to hear these women be very open about this, it was really exciting for me. And I was like, yo, I want to go to this conference. And it wasn't just to see something like that, but I wanted to learn so much more. So that was really exciting for me.
I want to put a
Yeah.
caveat that like it is totally educational as well. There are
Yeah,
therapists
that's
and
yes.
PhD students presenting real
Mhm.
research and information. It's not just that. There's an element of it. There's there are welcome groups who are like asexual or whatever. So it's not
Mhm.
sex, right? But it's how it's presented is very sort of like respectful.
I can identify to those feelings, Kim, because when I went my first year, I didn't know what to expect either. So I was like, I'm starting this sex therapy journey. This is a Black centered space. I'm so excited. I was like, what have I gotten myself into the first
Ooh.
day?
When keeping it real goes wrong.
I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? It's so safe. Like it is one of the safest spaces that I have ever been into. And you would think, oh, it's about sex, so it can get a little, touch and go. But no, like when I say that people are not afraid to say, hey, you made me feel unsafe. And you will be supported. I love that element about it, especially to look around and see people that look like you. So you have, experienced people there, and then you have people who, are just wanting to learn, who have, something has piqued their interest and they're like, I want to go to this conference just to be in this space, to meet people, to gain some knowledge, take some stuff, leave some stuff, and go back home, right?
That's it. And
How was
meet
that
some
experience?
friends.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
How is that experience? Have you brought what you've learned into your practice, right? Like how you engage with your clients? Have you seen things that you're like, ooh, I can use this, or have like a client in mind and be like, I saw this thing, or like put it high level and explain to them like, it's okay.
A lot of the workshops are amazing, like even from things from pelvic floor therapy to how that impacts, someone's ability to engage in sex. From I want to say there was like a sexting workshop, right? It's just so much of education that if you have somebody who is wanting to lean into that, okay, well, here's some safe things that you could do, right? Be mindful of this, this, and this. If I have a client that comes in that's having some pelvic floor pain, I can say to them, you know what? Think about this. Explore this type of doctor, right? Talk to your healthcare professional about this specialty, so you can get a referral to here. So it's just all about the things like that educate me, so I can give the information back to my client.
I took a class on talking dirty. And it's interesting because I used it in my practice. So Markia, like, again, you can definitely bring it back. It was about like kind of how do you advocate for yourself? And that's what the conversation was. And how do you ask for what you want? And we were talking about like, what does it mean to talk dirty? Like, how do you feel? Why is it uncomfortable? What's coming up for you? So I was definitely able to learn a lot there and kind of bring it back. So I thought it was really good.
And that last one, there was a 73-year-old woman talking to us. I forgot her name, Joan something, like talking about how she has a beautiful sex life. And I was like, girl, what?
Because ageism is real.
Yes. Yes.
What you talking about? I can't even imagine that, because there's no one in my life that I feel is having intercourse at that age range. Like, like what's happening?
But also, are we asking people that old? Are they having sex? Right? I wonder.
Nah,
that's also interesting.
I'm really not. I'm not asking. I'm so sorry.
I want to have those conversations, because I think about times that I have gone into in my previous careers, previous places of work, where I had to go into the nursing home, and you always hear about how these people are having sex.
Girl, they getting freaky in here.
Like, you have to think about it. Some of them may be going through some dementia, and they may be seeing whomever, and they end up having sex and doing those things. And let's be honest, that age group, syphilis was a big thing, right? So we don't know what types of STDs are being spread in that community as well. So that's just something to think about. You might still be frisky in your 70s, like that lady. What was her name?
With a diaper on. Oh, damn. Take your teeth out. So much going on.
Well, listen, you no longer have to worry about pregnancy.
Right. Exactly.
It's open season. So I think that's like really interesting. What I'm also interested about your practice, what have you noticed are barriers to sex? Right? Because we started talking about like how do we talk about sex, but what are some barriers that people are having to having sex?
People don't know what they like. So they rely on their partners to just do the thing. And then they get resentful when the partners aren't doing the thing. You don't know what you like to even say to your partner what you want, so they can show up like that for you. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things, is just like, let's have a conversation. So I always do a sexual boundaries assessment with my clients. Especially with my people who are partnered, I tell them to complete it separately, and then either we can come together during a session and talk about it, or they can have a conversation on their own. But it literally goes through like, what do you like your, private parts to be called?
Oh,
Wow.
How do you like to be touched, right? Because language matters. If somebody is saying something that completely turns you off, that doesn't get you in the mood. So
Because don't be talking about no cock.
that's not our word. That's not our word.
Shut it down.
Exactly. So if you don't like to hear cock, then say that to your partner. How are they supposed to know, right? So it's all about, boundaries. What works for you, what doesn't. And to be honest, I find like a lot of people tend to have sex more once we start to have the conversation.
Okay.
And they're like, dang, like, I know we just started working, but we had some really good sex. Yeah, because you're talking about it, right?
That's
You're
where it started
allowing
at,
your
in the brain.
to even go there.
Yeah. It's like, and it's weird because so many people, I was that once in a blue moon a number of decades ago. Like, how do you expect to be satisfied if you go from like actually not talking and then making assumptions that somebody's going to touch you the right way? You don't even know.
Exactly.
I think people have to be open to not feeling like they're being critiqued. Right? Just
Yes.
because I'm telling you that I enjoy this thing doesn't mean I also don't enjoy some of the things that we did. Also, that you weren't good at the things that we did. But this is what I like, right? And can you be okay with the things that I like? And can you be okay with me talking about it? Right? And if it's
Okay.
not for you, you can tell me that too, right? And where can we meet in the middle? But again, if I'm not comfortable with myself and I'm not willing to be vulnerable in my relationship, none of this is ever going to come up. And I'm just going to be out here having bad sex.
Right.
So I want audience to know that. Like, y'all got to be open and be vulnerable to talk about what you like and what you don't like if you want to have good sex. Because if you expecting somebody to read your mind, shame on you. And I'm pretty sure all of us were at that point at one point in our lives. We thought he should know, or she, or whoever you have sex with just should know. Why should they know?
Right. Exactly. And I like to tell people, so you want your partner to do what they did with the last person? That's what you're saying? You want them to do what they did with two parts?
You don't even know. She might like to get choked up. Whoa. Hey, buddy.
Exactly.
Hey, buddy. Whoa, hey.
I'm like
breathing.
You have to know for yourself to communicate that to your partner, and also know that those things are always evolving, right? The more you gain, as far as like knowledge wise, you may be into choking, right? You may learn that you like some elements of BDSM. You may learn that you like to be a sub, in the sense of you like to be dominated by somebody. So it's just a lot of different elements that you have to know to communicate to your partner.
I love that. Sounds like we're getting in down and dirty now. Whoa.
Okay, now come on. She didn't introduce subbing and BDSM.
Right. But here's the thing. If you think about it, there's often talk about what Black people do and don't do sexually. So I had them listening to my girl Suki Hana.
Oh no.
She out in these streets with her new song, got them going crazy out there. And seeing as though we met you at the Sex Down South conference where we were introduced to kink and BDSM, among other things, how do you introduce sexual interest that may be frowned upon or misunderstood in your sexual relationships?
Come on.
So
let's spice it up.
Right. So I like to explain to clients that BDSM is a spectrum, right? Like most things in our life, it's a spectrum. So like I mentioned earlier, you might like a little choking, you might like a little spanking, right? You might like to be tied up, and that doesn't have to be with a rope. It could be as simple as using a tie, your partner's tie. And that's BDSM, right? But then we have the other end of the spectrum where you can get where you can get into golden showers, where you're into like, pet play, like whatever you like, right? And I think it's important to go into the conversations with an open mind. Like sex can be so explorative, but we often limit ourselves because of what we think we know. Right. But you have
And
to
don't
be
be
open.
weirded out, right? By like if somebody asks you a question, you're like,
Yeah,
what the hell?
exactly. Even if you think that, right? Take a
Right.
moment to process that information and then say, you know what? I need to know more because
See,
what you
I
said is
understand.
not
I
enough.
have some questions.
But let me be
I have
clear
some
with you. If
questions.
an adult person comes and asks me to diaper them and spank them, I'm gonna have to look at them funny, like what? I'm not
I'm gonna
gonna
be
judge
curious.
you.
I'm
not
gonna be
gonna judge
curious.
you.
I
Explain
want
this
to
a
know
little
more.
further.
Right. I want to know, how do we get here? What about
What's
this
going
excites
on?
you, right? Because it's bringing about some pleasure. So
Y'all the
what is the
therapist.
pleasure
That's why
aspect?
y'all the therapist. I'll be like, listen, I don't have time for that. This feels
Yeah, I
like a
might be
lot of
on Kim's
work.
end. Some of them might be like, oh, oh, all
And they
right.
don't, and listen, and they don't care. Anybody who got the
And
audacity to
don't.
ask you that shit on the first day they meet you, you're like, well,
Well, no, we're not.
damn,
I'm gonna hope it's not the first day they meet you. I'm
girl,
gonna
I've
hope that
been
there's some
propositioned
comfortability.
in bars. Like, are you into that? Like, well, hold on now. Easy.
But you have to admire the bravery.
Come on.
On the flip side, you have to admire the
I'm not
bravery.
mad
They
at
get
it.
House don't get
confident.
fed.
I'm not mad at it.
You
I'm not
know,
mad at it.
Exactly. They are who they are, and they are confident and comfortable in
I'm
that.
wasting their time if I don't like it.
right?
You know,
Because somebody
time is
gonna do
short.
it. If it ain't you, somebody gonna do it, girl.
I've definitely been asked to
Exactly.
swap partners. Like I have been out with my husband and I've had people come up to us and was like, oh, hey, start talking. And I'm like, and I always nudge my husband, where's this going? And he'd never know. I'm like, yo, I'm telling you what's about to happen. And he's like, you
Mhm.
serious? Yes, I'm serious. How are you not seeing what I see right now? Yeah, I had this white woman. She was like, oh my God, you're so pretty. Like, do you think, my husband thinks you're beautiful? And, maybe the two of us. And I was like, oh, ma'am, okay.
Hmm.
We were like at a ski lodge, in Pennsylvania. I'm like, you know what? That's not really, we don't really get down like that. But
Y'all
thank you
not
for the
swinging
offer.
over there? Ain't
Yeah,
nobody
like we
swinging?
appreciate the offer that you see something in us, right? But that's not what we do. But I was not offended, and I love that I wasn't
Mm.
offended, right?
Mhm.
Because
Not
again,
offensive. It's just like
well,
shocking.
some people are not. Well, some
Yeah.
people might be angry that you even asked, right? Like,
Okay.
why
Yeah,
did
I
you
get
think it
that.
was okay? I'm
Right.
like, listen, you shoot your shot. Because
Mhm.
I might say yes. Again, Marquis, you just said a closed mouth don't get fed, right? Like, so I might
Ah,
have been okay with it. So people have to
Right.
ask for what they want, right? And then
Aldrin
they
might
have
have
to
been
wait
more
for an
okay with it
answer.
than you.
He just for y'all who listening, my husband pretty square. So I was like, I don't know. He never even know when women are like hitting on him. I just be like, didn't you notice that? He don't see anything. But
Because
Mm-mm.
you
he
never
is
know.
loyal
He
and
busy
he
going
is
about his
kind.
day.
Right.
Don't talk about my friend like that.
Until he get the right offer.
Don't do my friend. He ain't going nowhere.
Oh
He's staying right
man.
there.
Let him be.
Alphas don't cheat. That's what they say.
Oh
Uh,
Lord. I can't now. I'm done.
Listen,
that's
you get proposition when you were Aldrin. I get proposition by men who want me to dominate them. I just be like, oh yeah, I get it.
because you
Sure.
tall, girl.
Yeah, I'm tall. I've got,
He
broad
gives off that
shoulders.
aura. Ooh.
Listen, I do give energy. I just be looking at
That
people
take charge
funny.
energy.
You better make that
Exactly.
money, Kim.
Uh,
Don't
that
let it make
part.
you,
You better have a conversation
Right.
offline. Figure out your options.
girl.
Kimberly, one more question for you. So as you know, a lot of women complain that they're not necessarily sexually pleased in the bedroom, especially if they are partnering with, let's say, the penis-bearing folk, penis
Yeah.
owners, using the inclusive language. Statistics show about 18.4% of women orgasm from vaginal penetration alone. Do you have any suggestions on how women can increase that number? I know we were talking about you have to get your head in the game. I know that that is a big factor for a lot of us. You got to be present in the moment. But what tips do you have from
Because
your
that's low. That number is low, girl. I read that number like, oh, Lord, 18.4.
You know, whenever I get into a debate with men, I definitely like to bring up the fact that if we're talking about cis heterosexual women, okay, we at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the pleasure orgasm gap, okay?
Damn.
And that statistic right there, 18.4%, Jesus. So I like to really talk to people, not necessarily about orgasms through vaginal penetration. I like to talk with them about how do they receive pleasure, right? Because majority of vulva owners will say clitoral stimulation. Now, I will say majority of them don't say that to their partners, right? And I think it's out of shame. They don't want to make folks feel bad of, you know, you can't please me with your penis. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't offer pleasure. It just doesn't always equate to an orgasm.
Right.
So I like to talk with people about, okay, well, how can you get creative of receiving that vaginal penetration plus the clitoral stimulation? So let's talk about sex toys, right? Sex toys enhance your sexual experience. It does not replace a partner unless you really wanted to. That's your business if you do.
That's why that rose was up by 1,000. It was city girl numbers. Okay.
It sure was.
During the pandemic.
I got one.
It took us up, but it's necessary, right? Like if you know I can't reach an orgasm with just vaginal penetration alone, it's cool to reach for that rose, to reach for that bullet, to reach for whatever you need in that moment, because we are responsible for our own sexual pleasure. That's on us, right? Listen,
when somebody say I got mine, you better get yours, they really do mean that.
They really do mean that. They really mean that.
I just want to put a stat out there. I'm sorry, because I'm the stat girl. 94% of women who have anal sex orgasm. Just throwing it out there for y'all ladies, just in case you want to figure out a way to orgasm. 94%. Those numbers are very different. Razzle dazzle.
Wait, did you say razzle dazzle?
Razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle, you know. You might
I'm so confused by razzle dazzle.
You might could do a butt plug, right? If you want to get all in, you could do a butt plug with some penetration. If you want to bring in a rose, that sounds like a party.
Listen.
You can do what you want to. You can do what you want to.
And do it in consenting ways. I think that's really important. Like
absolutely
conversation, consent, communication, all the things. Those are the C's, right? The 3 C's, if there was one. And condoms for those out there not want to, you know, who only want to be recreational. And if you're procreational, you don't want to procreate that much. So
some people might. They
look at the Duggars, child. They ain't black, but you know.
Ooh. Listen, my mother's 1 and 8. Father's 1 and 9.
Yes, okay.
They a mess, okay.
I don't know how Granny was popping them out like that. Sure.
So Kim, before you go, right, are there any like tips, tools, or resources that you can share with listeners? And I know you release a monthly newsletter, so if you can tell people what they can expect to see in that newsletter as well.
So the tip that I would say is to lean into who you are, right? Like really evaluate who you are as a person, what you want your sex life to look like, and lean into that. There's great resources out there. Sex Down South, right? That's an amazing resource. If you can't make it to Atlanta, a lot of things are virtual. Find your community. There is a community for everything and everybody at this point in life. So find your community. You don't have to dive all the way in and do all the things, but just be present, absorb the knowledge, right? So yes, my monthly newsletter. It's on my website at www.transformationspaceTS.com. It's called Let's Talk About Sex. And when I say that, it's not just like all strictly sex tips. It talks about all the things like boundaries and learning about what you like and self-love. The April edition is talking about healthy sexual conversations. So check it out. Go to the website, sign up. You'll get notifications when it is available for your reading pleasure.
And where can we find you on Instagram before you go?
So yes, you can find me on Instagram at You Are Sexually Worthy.
Come on.
You know, I want to empower the people. So I felt like that name was just encouraging for people to lean into who they are and do the things that makes them feel good. So
Yeah.
That was it you, like YOU, or is it you? The letter
YOU. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
You're
so much.
sexually
Markia, can you take us out like you normally do?
Well, thank you first and foremost, second Kim for the day. We appreciate you being here.
Yes.
But as always, you can find us on social media at Black Women Be Whole, whether that be on Instagram or Facebook. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can go to our website at blackwomenbewhole.com and find out about all the things that we're doing. You know, check out when we have our next monthly happy hour, maybe buy a playbook, any of those things. And we thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thank
y'all.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to the Black Women Be Whole podcast. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can find us on Instagram at Black Women Be Whole, on Facebook at Black Women Be Whole. You can even go to our website, blackwomenbewhole.com, where you can join our mailing list and you can find out what we're doing as far as events, where we'll be, if we're vending. You can also get a heads up on any information about upcoming podcasts and any product releases we're having. We appreciate you, sis. We'll see you next time.